Finding the GCF. Today our topic is finding the greatest common factor. This is one of the main things you will learn to do in middle school, and you will use it all throughout your math career. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So first, it says find the GCF of 32 and 48. Now, 32 and 48 may seem like two big numbers, and that's fine and all. But today, I'm going to teach you two different methods that you can use to help you find the GCF. Granted, there are many more methods out there. Whichever one you choose that works for you, then you go for it. However, these are two that will be very beneficial to your book of methods. All right, here we go. So first of all, we have the cake method, and then we have one of my favorites, the T method. Well, we're going to start off with the cake method. With the cake method, you want to draw those upside down division bars, and we call it the cake method because it looks like an upside down cake, right? So we're going to put 32 and 48 right in the middle of the box. And right now, we're going to ask ourselves, what number can divide into 32 and to 48 evenly? If you don't know, I often tell my students that if both numbers are even, you can always start with 2. Okay? Now, you're asking yourself, well, what is 32 divided by 2 and what is 48 divided by 2? If you do your math correctly, you will find that 32 divided by 2 is 16 and 48 divided by 2 is 24. But we are not done yet because we see that both of those numbers are still even. So we got to chop these down a little bit more. So now I'm asking myself, what number can I divide evenly into 16 and 24? Okay, this time we're going to choose 4. Make it a little bit bigger so we can get done a little bit quicker. I get it. All right, now, so we have 16 and 24. All right, so 16 divided by 4 is going to give you 4, and 24 divided by 4 is going to give you 6. But still, again, we have two even numbers. We are not done yet. So now we need to figure out what number can divide into 4 and 6. We're going to start with 2, okay? And we know that 4 divided by 2 is 2, and 6 divided by 2 is a 3. Now we have one more step. So we see 2 and we see 3. What number can divide into 2 and 3? Stop and ask yourself that real quick. But really, you don't have to stop because we know that anything divided by what itself is going to give you 1. So we know that 2 divided by 1 is also going to be what? 2, and 3 divided by 1 is also going to be 3. So what do? We stop right there, duh. Because what happens? Like I said, 2 divided by 1 is 2. And 3 divided by 1 is 3. So if we keep doing that, we're going to keep getting the same thing over and over again. So at this point, we are finished. Now, the next thing we need to do is follow these steps. After you've done completing your upside down cake, now you got to multiply all the numbers on the left to get your GCF. So when I'm talking about all the numbers, I'm talking about the 2, the 4, the 2, and the 1. And 2 times 4 is 8. 8 times 2 will give you 16. And 16 times 1 is what? That's right, 16. So therefore, the GCF is 16. Now, that's just one method. So we're going to go over to the right, and we're going to try the T method to see if we get the same answer. All right? Now, how do we start off with the T method? Well, first, draw yourself a big T. And then what you're going to do is you're going to put the numbers right on top of the T. Okay? 32 and 48, we got it on top. So now we're going to ask ourselves starting with 1. What? You can do it either way. You can ask yourself, what is 32 divided by 1? Or what times 1 is going to give you 32? It does not matter which way you use, okay? I tend to like to ask myself, what times 1 is going to give me 32? And you'll see, obviously, 32, okay? So now, what times 2 is going to give you 32? Well, 16. What about 3? So what I do is, whenever there's a number that I know cannot go into that number, I just cross it out. So we know that 3 can't go into 32 evenly. So therefore, we're going to cross it out. There's no other factor that's going to be a whole number that you can multiply by 3 to get 32. Okay? 4, you will get 8. What about 5? Do you think 5 would be one of those numbers? Probably not, right? Exactly. So we cross that out. Now let's think about the number 6. Can 6 possibly work? I don't know, because I know that 6 times 5 is 30. And if I add 6 more to 30, I get 36. So nah, not going to happen. All right, so what about 7? Again, I know that 7 times 5 is 32. I also know that 7 times 4 is 28. And if I add 7 or take away 7, I'm not going to get 32. So therefore, 7 does not work as well. Well, what about 8? Yes, 8 and 4. But guess what? We're going to stop right there. And here's why we're going to stop. We're stopping because we already have 4 and an 8. And if we continue to go, we're going to repeat those same factors that we have. It'll just be on the opposite side of the t. And there's no point in keeping to do that, okay? So now that we have stopped there, we're going to work on the other one. Let's work on 48. So what times 1 will give you 48? Obviously, 48. All right, what times 2 will give you 48? You're right, 24. What times 3 will give you 48? Ooh, 16. Wow. Well, what times 4 is going to give you 48? That's right, 12. What times 5 is going to give you 48? This is a hard one. You might have to pause the... No, you don't. Don't pause the video. Excellent. Nothing, because we know that 5 usually have a 0 or a 5. Like, it's straight like that. If there's no 0 behind it or 5 behind it, it's probably not going to work, right? I bet you didn't know that. All right. Oh, I went too fast. But what about 6? Obviously, it's 8. Because 6 times 8 is what? 48. Okay. Can 7 go into 48 evenly? Probably not. So we cross that out. But what do you notice is about to happen now? We already have an 8, but when we get to 8, we're going to be repeating. So therefore, we are going to do what? You right. Stop. We're going to stop. Okay. Now at this time, we are ready to list out our factors. We are listing the factors for both numbers. For 32, you have 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, and 32. I like to put them in order just because it makes it a lot easier when I'm comparing. So I'm going to do the same thing for 48. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 12, 16, 24. Up, and I see a mistake. That should not be 28. That should be 48. So now that we have the correct answer up there with 48 instead of 28, let's go ahead and take a look at our answers to see what we have in common. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to highlight the common ones. So I see that we both of the numbers have a 1 in common. Both have a 2. They both have 4. I also see that they both have 8. And they both have 16. Now, out of those numbers that they have in common, the greatest common factor that we see is 16. Okay? So therefore, we saw in both methods that our answer is 16. Again, it doesn't matter which way you choose. Even if you decide you don't like these two methods and you choose to do your own thing, that's fine. As long as you get the correct answer, that's all we're going for. Okay? So now I challenge you to do the next one. It says find a GCF of 20 and 30. Now here's what Mr. G is going to do. Mr. G is going to tell you what the answer is, but he's expecting that you're going to take one of those methods that was taught to you or your own method to see if you can get that answer. If you end up with that answer, leave a comment in the comment section. Let me know that you did it. Now I'm going to give you the answer. And the answer that you should come up with is 10. All right. If you got that answer, again, just leave a comment in the comment section. I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Please don't forget to like, share, and most importantly, subscribe to Basic Math Skills with Mr. G.